every time that guy got sick, it was like the whole world revolved around his being sick.
Not being able to sleep and not being able to breathe.
Weird that I don't know where that word that comes from her, but that's not my experience with you.
I guess TLC could only spin the Christine villain story for so long before they ran out of episodes, and they had, the tell-all, and they still had more episodes to fill up, so they've decided to have the cast sort of review the season. It is what it is. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Sister Wives, Talk About It, season 18, episode 19. So the episode starts with, the three OG wives sitting down, and Cody sitting down with Robin to rewatch episode 1 of season 18. And I don't know how I feel about this. I think they should have done something else, or maybe they didn't have anything to do, so they've decided to review just like we normally do. But hey, it is what it is. And right off the jump, you can see that Cody is going to play villain. Somehow Robin seems annoyed, and it's like, why is she annoyed? She's receiving a check from TLC. What else has happened with her and her husband that she's annoyed to be doing this Talk About It? You can see from her body language that she's really not happy, or maybe she's trying not to be very intimate with Cody on camera, since this is something that they said that they avoided as sister wives to avoid making each other jealous. So they show Janelle's, trailer, and then they show Robin's house. And Christine comments on how small Janelle's house was as compared to Robin's, and the fact that actually Janelle wasn't living in a house, but she was living in a trailer, and yet Robin has this massive, double-story house. And it's like, I don't get it as well, and I don't get how Robin doesn't feel guilty at the fact that this woman worked her whole life to provide for this family, and yet she is in a better financial position than the person who was doing all the work. You can see that all the wives don't care anymore. The OG wives, they are not even bothered. They're going to say what they think and think whatever they want about this situation. So they show the Cody argument with the boys, and the fact that Cody wanted an apology, which later turned out to be he wanted a conversation. And for him to play victim and continue to play this victim, I was going through a divorce. And it's like, you said you didn't like Christine. You never loved her. She begged to come into the family. So why would you say you're still tender? Tender from what? Janelle comments that, for years he's been saying he doesn't like Christine. He doesn't want to be intimate with her. He finds it very difficult. So I'm surprised he's saying he was tender. And it's like, he's just attention seeking. That's it. It's just attention seeking. There's nothing else. I think they didn't have a storyline with Robin, and so decided to milk Christine leaving and play the victim and see if they could get away with it. That's the impression that I'm getting. It's interesting, the lack of self-awareness or the ability to self-reflect. The fact that Cody continues to play victim even when he rewatches the season. He can't see where he was wrong. He said he wanted his children to apologize to Robin because they had disrespected Robin. And then he turned around and said, no, I want them to have a conversation with me. And then he criticized the wives for turning his children away from him. And then he criticized his wives for taking him away from the environment in which he knew or he parented his children from. And Christine is saying, no, I did not kick him out of the house. I kicked him out of my bedroom, but I never kicked him out of the house. So which means that if he wanted to come and parent Christine's children, he could have still come in. The only thing is he couldn't go into her bedroom, but he didn't want that. He wanted to be all over the place, and so he played victim and chose to say she kicked me out of the house instead of she kicked me out of her bedroom. With Janelle, the fact that he continues, oh well, she turned my children against me, she communicated to my children all these things that turned, and it's like, you're a grown man in this day of the internet, this day of mobile phones. If you wanted to have a relationship with your children, you could communicate with your children on your own behalf. And the fact that you keep saying to my house, meaning Robin's house, instead of looking at all the other wives' houses as your home too, that's why you have a problem with your children. That's why you have a problem with your 3 OG wives who are now your ex-wives, because you failed to acknowledge them and their sort of homes as part of yourself. You always refer to their children. Unless it suits you, then you turn around and say, my children. Otherwise, it's always Janelle and Janelle's children, Christine and Christine's children, Robin and my children. And so it's like, oh, so when it's Robin, they are your children with Robin, but the rest are their mother's children. Make it make sense? I don't get it. I don't get how he can sit there and watch this. And they show the clip, of Janelle saying she's going to her daughters for Christmas and then for Thanksgiving, and then she's going to do Christmas with Christine because her boys are not allowed. And, oh, well, why didn't you and Mary back me up? And it's like, why did you suddenly you want Mary involved because it suits you? When it doesn't suit you, you want nothing to do with her. You want to put her in a pandemonium. Make it make sense. This man is a walking sort of contradiction. He doesn't know what he wants. He wants things that will help protect him and insulate him and make him seem like the victim. Otherwise, he doesn't want to take accountability for his actions, for the things that he says, the things that he does. No, everybody should just agree with him. And he had problems with Janelle because Janelle didn't agree with him. And it's like, oh my God, make it make sense. Watching Mary reflect on, her scenes is quite moving. And I think people know that I have a soft spot for Mary because I think she's been handed the short end of the stick, and I think she was played with and she didn't realize it until it was too late. Anyway, she's comments about the jacket scene where she said, I'm getting a hug from Cody. And I think she was just being sarcastic. She was being sarcastic in the sense that I'm wearing his jacket and yet he won't even come close to me. So, this is the closest I can come to him. I think this is what she was trying to say. Sadly, she didn't articulate it that way. They spoke about the Rice Krispie scene where she said, Cody prefers Robin's Rice Krispies to mine. And Christina was actually taken aback that Mary found the humor in that. And that's more or less what happened with their family. Cody was happy with his 3 OG wives. And then when Robin came in and she laid the law and made her demands and did whatever she did, Cody suddenly preferred Robin's Rice Krispies to everybody else. And so that analogy sort of worked that way, but Christine was surprised that Mary wasn't hurt by it, but actually found the humor. And at times in pain, you have to laugh to stop yourself from crying. So I understand where she's coming from. And then there's this conversation about the family and how, they were before they became public and what happened with moving to Vegas and how they came apart. And so for Cody to try and sort of say Christine refused to be part of one family, Christine did not refuse to be part of the polygamous family. She refused to live under the same roof as everybody else. She was happy to still be a Brown with her children, but she just didn't want the idea of living in one household, given all the problems they had faced before. And I get where she's coming from. They lived in one household. They had a lot of challenges. And when they got to their own homes, that's when they realized the independence that came with being under your own roof, not having to answer to anybody else, being able to do whatever you wanted to do. So the idea that he wanted to pull them back to where they started from, I can see why the wives were not happy with that. And so for Cody to try and sort of blame Christine for that doesn't make sense. And for Robin to pretend like she didn't know that Christine and Cody were having problems doesn't even make sense, because Christine says they had problems from the time that, since the time that Robin moved in, maybe before, all the way through Vegas. Apparently they were also actually in counseling and Robin was there. So the idea that she pretends that she didn't know anything doesn't make sense. And I think in the season, Janelle also said that, Robin has this thing whereby she pretends to be naive. She pretends a lot as though she doesn't know anything when she actually knows what's going on. I have a feeling that whatever was happening in his relationships with his other wives, whatever was happening with his children, Cody would come and brainstorm with Robin, and then whatever they decided upon, that's what Cody would go and do. And this is why he fell apart with the rest of his wives and his children, because that's not the way they used to function prior to Robin coming into the family. It's an insult for Robin to say that she felt the family wasn't safe for her children. Her children got preferential treatment when they came into this family. People didn't celebrate certain holidays and they had to sort of accommodate that for her family. So for her to say that she felt it wasn't safe and she had previously felt, they were a safe environment, it's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? So their finances were safe for you, but it was just the people that were not safe. And for her to not sort of correct herself or clarify what she meant doesn't make sense to me. They then talk about this thing that the family changed. Yes, the family changed when Robin came in. There was a lot of change. Robin needed a lot of help. People had to accommodate her wants and her needs. They had to accommodate her financial needs, her physical needs. And so for her to sit there and say, you know, why are they saying things changed when I moved in? Things did change. They did change. This family was functional before she came in. And for Cody to try and back and say, oh no, they're very bitter, you know, they're just wanting to blame you, and it's like, make it make sense. And for him to say, oh, I hope Mary, after this divorce, her and I can be friends. She's been friendly with you all along. You divorced her years ago. She's just been there in the background, but you haven't had anything to do with her. So for you to try and make it seem like she's suddenly going to be bitter because you have moved on. You moved on years ago, sir. Please keep quiet. It's the audacity for me, for Cody to say, you know, Mary, I watch her fondly and I see her as my friend, and I think if she doesn't become bitter after the divorce, we could be friends. The only way Mary could be bitter is if you don't give her money. The money she invested in Robin's house, the money she invested in Coyote Pass. If you give her money, she's good. She doesn't need you. She doesn't need your friendship. She has enough friends to deal without you. And for Robin's face, you could see she was trying to sort of assess what Cody was trying to say, and then she says, oh, you see, this is why I said, you know, he still thinks of her, because he says he thinks of her fondly and he misses her. No, it was pointless for her to keep holding on to a relationship that wasn't working. Cody liked her finances, and he liked the fact that he could call upon her anytime he needed her, and she wouldn't argue, unlike Christine and Janelle. And that's all he liked. Her finances and the fact that she was willing to get along, just to have peace in the family. That's all he liked. If he saw her as a friend, he would have checked on her. He would have called her more often. He would have spoken to her more often. So for him to say, I miss her, he's just doing that for the cameras to try and be the good guy, which he's not. I don't get what Cody and Robin get from continuing to play victim and continuing to contradict the OG3 wives, because they show the scene actually of Christine meeting up with Cody, and Cody, you know, talking about his COVID and how he was at death's bed, he was in a fetal position. And it's like, Isabel went through years of back pain. She went through major surgery, but still, she didn't whimper and cry and say, I was in the fetal position, I was this, that, and the other. Suddenly, Mary's actually agreeing with Christine that Cody, every time he was sick, everything had to stop and everybody had to pamper him. For Robin to turn around, well, I've never seen that. When you had COVID, you're still looking after the children, you're still doing... Well, he did that for you because he loves you. He didn't do that for the OG3. And you have to acknowledge what they're saying because you were not there. You can't contradict something that you do not know. You can talk about your experience, but you can't say, no, you're lying because I didn't get to say it. That doesn't make sense. And so Cody and Robin, I don't get them. I wish they would move on with their lives. They're happy. They got their multi-million-dollar home. They've got acres at Coyote Pass. They need to allow these women, in Christine words, to leave and be at peace wherever they are. Because surprisingly, the OG3 actually look younger, look healthier, look happier as compared to Robin, who stayed back with Cody. So I wonder whether she still thinks Cody's the prize, or whether she's got a different take on it now. Apparently there's another episode that's airing tonight, so I will be reviewing that anytime tomorrow or the day after. Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 18. Bye guys.